Welcome back to the heart of the story here at Turkish Series Stars, your refuge in the digital whirlwind, where we don't skim headlines, we go straight into the current of emotion, the breath between the words, the truths people try not to say out loud. Today, the atmosphere is charged in a way we haven't felt in ages. We're stepping into a moment that cracked open the calm of a sleepy airport dawn, a moment that has sent timelines spiraling with theories, with hope, with that ache we all get when we sense something real just out of reach. It centers on a woman who has turned restraint into an art form and a man whose warmth sits behind guarded doors. Yes, we're talking about the magnetic, elusive, endlessly watchable pair, Sinem and Ozan Baba. Before we trace every heartbeat of the scene that ignited the terminal this morning, make your place official in this circle of truth chasers. Subscribe so you never miss a deep reading of the moments others gloss over, and tap the bell so you're the first to feel the tremor when a story like this breaks. If you value storytelling that honors nuance, hit join. Your support keeps us steady enough to do this with care. Take a breath. We're walking into the still center of the whirlwind that is Sinem and Ozan. It was pre-dawn, that liminal hour when airports are sleepy cathedrals of moving shadows and half-formed goodbyes, when sunglasses disguise more than eyes and scarves become shields. Then a shiver moved across the terminal, first a hush, then a low tide pulling back before the crash. Photographers sensed something in the air, gathered in a tide of bodies and lenses, flashes stitching thin lightning across glossy floors. At the center of that pulse stood Sinem. Her name has been threading through whispers for months, floating over timelines like a steady question. What's actually unfolding behind Ozan Baba's carefully drawn boundaries? Gossip started as soft as a rumor of new love and swelled into bolder claims. Yes, even the word marriage began to appear, daringly, like someone was testing the lock on a door. Through it all, Sinem kept her high-wire balance. No denial, no confirmation, that practiced grace that makes silence feel like a statement. She is fluent in the almost answer, sovereign of the knowing smile. But questions move faster. The terminal, which normally swallows celebrities without a ripple, turned into a sudden stage. A voice cut through the haze of rolling suitcases and robot announcements, sharp, fearless, dead center. Sinem Hanım, is it true you married Ozan Baba? No soft edges. No polite detour. A clean strike after weeks of sidelong glances and cryptic captions. Everyone expected the routine. She glides past, treats it like static, disappears behind the security glass. Not today. Today, the choreography changed. Sinem stopped. It was brief, measured, almost theatrical, and it sent a jolt through the crowd. She tilted her chin, a quiet act of control, like an actress stepping into a spotlight to deliver a single line she knows will land. The smile appeared. The one that can spin up 1,000 comment threads, and she exhaled, and somehow the temperature of the space shifted. The cameras surged, hungry, and the mood turned giddy. The follow-up questions rushed in like wind through a door just opened. Are you and Ozan solid right now? Have the families met at last? Are you trying to travel together without letting anyone catch you? Is there a plan to cement things publicly soon? She absorbed the storm with a look that was amused and protective at once, as if she were deciding whether to invite strangers beyond the threshold. I know the curiosity is real, she said, that smile giving nothing away, a shield that still felt warm. Life has its rhythm. My heart is calm. The rest, you'll see when it's time. That was all. It was everything. The words drifted through the hall like expensive perfume, lingering as she turned away. She moved toward security, handed over her passport with a steady hand, and didn't look back. Minutes later, phones in every corner of the internet were lit up with the clip. And then a detail returned from earlier in the week, another magnet thrown into the mix, a line Ozan gave a few days ago, caught on his way out of a rehearsal. He said he prefers not to discuss his private world, but that he's happy. Calm voice, easy eyes. That simple sentence suddenly felt like a key when placed next to Sinem's words today. Side by side, His quiet contentment and her measured openness fanned the flames that had been smoldering for months. Let's pause here, Turkish series stars family, and breathe. This is public image judo at its finest, a high-wire act between the urge to reveal and the need to protect. What are we seeing? Two people aligned in how they carry fame and defend their center. But what do you think? Is this intentional ambiguity shielding a private vow? Or are they simply giving their relationship oxygen, refusing to let the timeline dictate their pace? Tell us in the comments. And if this moment has you as hooked as it has us, hit like so the story travels further. Comments poured in like rain. Many insisted the veil had slipped and there was nothing left to hide, only a slow rollout on their terms. Others believed her trip wasn't just work or a quick reset, but connected to a private milestone they want to keep sacred for a while longer. The theory that made Pulse's race most? That Ozan and Sinem were headed to the same city on separate flights, a planned dodge to avoid the joint frame that would blow the lid off. It sounded like fanfiction until someone posted a blurry shot of the departure board showing 2 flights to the same destination with takeoff times uncomfortably close. No proof, just delicious possibility. By midday, what began as a routine travel day had become the conversation of the week. The internet split into camps with passionate interpretations. Was there a quiet ceremony we all missed, tucked away from prying eyes? Are they building toward a major reveal, waiting for the right project, the right date, the right moment? Or is this just a pair protecting the last corner of normal they still own? The exact truth stayed just out of reach, a mirage shimmering at the edge. But one thing sharpened into focus: how Sinem uses silence as narrative, and how Ozan supports that choice without adding static. Hours later, fan edits grew precise. Creators looped the sliver of a second when her lips parted, claimed the curve of her cheek looked softer than usual, read contentment in the way she shifted her weight. Others studied her jewelry. Was that ring new? A piece she wears often? Or something recently added with a story that wasn't supposed to be seen yet? People compared shades in her travel outfit to colors Ozan wore last week. Even the angle of her bag strap turned into evidence, as if cosmic answers were hiding on the diagonal. Supporters from both fandoms chimed in, a chorus of faith and theories. She looks genuinely serene, one said, echoing across reposts. That glow isn't PR, another argued. Skeptics held the line, it's strategy. They're playing suspense like a violin. Even that felt like reluctant respect. Because it is choreography, this tension between private truth and public appetite, and they danced it with elegance today. Watch the unedited clip to the end and you catch one last detail. After her final words, Sinem lifts her hand in a small wave, gracious, definitive, a soft period at the end of a sentence. She approaches the barrier, presents her phone with the boarding pass pulled up, and slips beyond the glass into a world of gates and numbers where cameras lose their power. The clip ends, but the hunt for breadcrumbs doesn't. People dug out old interviews where she praised patience, slow love, the sanctity of timing. They paired them with segments of Ozan talking about focus, respect, the necessity of keeping some things untouched by the spotlight. Together, those fragments made the morning feel inevitable. You can feel them steering the narrative without ever gripping it too hard. No operatic statements. No stunts. Just a consistency that refuses to let rumors define them before they choose their own title page. And here we are tonight, watching the tide turn one more time. Fans believe we're on the brink of something big, not a full tell-all, not yet, but a clear sign. A photo that needs no caption. A joint appearance that says more than any press release. Or perhaps a simple acknowledgement that lets the world exhale. The question drifts under every comment: was this morning the first step toward opening the door? We can't tell you for sure. Not yet. But the energy around them is different now. It's not the frantic buzzing of early rumor. It's warmer. Calmer. Charged with a steadier anticipation. When a couple protects the core and still sparks like this, audiences lean in with affection, not only curiosity. That's what we saw today, a community willing to wait if the reveal, whenever it comes, rings true. So what sits on the table? A private promise shared within a circle so small that microphones can't reach? A timed reveal, a project aligned, a milestone marked, a date that matters to them? Or the simplest possibility of all? Two people nurturing something real just out of the glare, stepping forward only when their instincts agree? There's tension here, yes, but there's tenderness too. And that is why this moment broke the internet without trying. One truth is certain, the sentence Sinem left the cameras this morning belongs to the week. It grabbed the timeline and nudged it onto a new track. The clip will replay, remix, reappear under photos of dim dinners and anonymous lounges, slowed until every frame feels laden with meaning. Whether this leads to vows, to a coordinated announcement, or to a renewed promise of privacy, it will be remembered as the day their silence changed form. Thank you for walking with us into the center of the story on Turkish series Stars. If this deep dive resonated, share the video and help this community grow. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit join so we can keep telling these stories with respect for the people at their core. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your hearts ready for what's true.